In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys some I don't know why I made that face. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys some helpful DBFZ tips to go from DBFZ to picking up Street Fighter 6 if you're struggling with the game. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, this first tip is pretty obvious. DBFZ is a team-based fighting game where you and your opponent choose 3 characters to go against each other. Street Fighter 6 is a 1v1 fighting game. That means no assists, just mano-a-mano. These assists play a huge part of the game. Here we see the red monkey using Broly to clear the screen. Then once the screen is clear, the red monkey takes his free neutral win and goes into a block string. Then the monkey can use his second assist to go into mix, both of which can lead into an incredibly high damage and a possible 2-touch. If you look back at it, the red monkey didn't even have to play neutral himself. He simply threw his assists out and let them do the work for him. A major benefit of assists is that they can fix holes in characters who are lacking something. Piccolo, for example, doesn't have a fast full-screen projectile, but with Goku behind him, he has access to a full-screen beam, fixing one of his major problems. Assists play such a huge part in this game that it's really hard to imagine what it would be like without them. I mean, seriously, imagine if you started the match and it was only a 1v1. How much different the game would feel. You don't have to imagine that in Street Fighter. In Street Fighter, it's only a 1v1. You can't bring something to the table that you don't have unless your character can do it. If you play the game the last 2 seasons, this is something you know of. A lot of characters can do a safe lariat into an assist and punish you when you try to mash. Street Fighter 6 also has lariats like DBZ does, a lot of them safe. However, because you don't have assists behind you, you can't force putt frames and immediately make it your turn. You have to play some sort of RPS, and most of the time is very risky. Now, some characters do better at this than others, like Blanca or Honda. Those guys are just straight up cracked. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Now, when it comes to high level of DBFZ, movement is the most important thing. You could tell it was a focus just because the amount of options that you can do. You can run, double jump, dash jump. You can do so many things in this game. Jumping is also incredibly powerful in this game because you can double jump and mix up an opponent who is trying to anti-air you. Here, Gotenks goes for a double jump when the SSJ4 is expecting him to land and tries to hit him with a 2H. And unlike Street Fighter 6, you can also block in the air in this game. Jumping around is not as good as being on the ground, but it's not nearly as bad in other games, except your startup frames where you can be hit. Street Fighter 6 is a lot slower pace. You can't run, you can only forward dash slightly, drive rush, back dash, and jump once. In this game, you also can't block when you're in the air. An opponent with good reactions will knock you out of the air immediately. This is not to say jumping is terrible, as jumping as a mix-up or as a hard call-out can work incredibly well, especially if you got a dive kick, or if you know a fireball is coming, then you can just jump over it and bop them in the head. Also, I said previously you can't run. Certain characters have a command dash, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna be real with you here. Super Dash is the bane of my existence, especially online, but it's very powerful in DBFZ. It allows you to break through neutral and get in from across the screen instantly. And with this, it allows you to go into mix if you have the right characters. Thankfully, Street Fighter 6 is nothing like DBZ. It doesn't have anything like that. Oh, what the hell is this? So, about Drive Rush. There are a couple of rules you gotta know. The first one. You cannot block during the startup of Drive Rush. If there's an attack out, you will get bumped. You can only block towards the end or midway through. Projectiles will also bump you, unlike Super Dash, which stops Key Blast and stuff. In DBFZ, everyone has the same Super Dash except Roshi. In Street Fighter, the DR is actually dependent on the character. Some go farther, some go faster, and some are trash, like Zangief's. You can sort of think of this as a Super Dash, as it lets you mix and approach from afar. Some characters get a plus on block overhead, but other characters are not so lucky and their overhead is garbage, like Geef. He's better off going for a strike-throw mix with his super awesome throw or his super awesome kick. Alright, to break this down a little bit further, DBFZ lets you do non-committal neutral and allowing your assists to completely take over the battle. Stuff like doing a dash block, which is just a forward back motion, lets you approach while blocking and calling an assist behind you. In Street Fighter 6, the commitment level is simply higher. You don't have an assist to back you up if you mess up, and he can't bail you out if you do something unsafe. Your fundamentals are key in this game, and you have to balance the risk and reward of your actions. Read and look at your opponent to what they're doing, and try to pick the best option to beat them, while also maximizing your punishes. In Street Fighter, a lot of combos uses this thing called a link. A link is where you hit a move, and you have to time the next move to land after that first one ends, because they don't cancel into each other. They do combo, but they don't cancel like a Gatling. In DBZ, there wasn't much links because most things were just completely cancelable, either into normals or into specials. Street Fighter does have special cancelable moves, but a lot of the combos in this game involve links some way or the other, so this is something you're going to have to learn. Another major difference in this game is that Street Fighter 6 is a 6-button fighter, compared to DBFZ, which is a 4-button fighter. If for whatever reason you can't wrap your head around this kind of input, it does offer a simple type of input called modern controls. This makes this game a ton easier, including making special moves linked to one button. Now, I wouldn't recommend this because you lose out on a lot of tools, but one-button SPDs are freaking hilarious, so I give it a look, I guess. Now, for my auto combo kings out there, modern controls gives you a type of auto combo by holding assist and pressing the attack button. It's not very good, but it's better than nothing if you choose to go that route. Now, another way this game is more difficult are the inputs themselves. In DBZ, almost all the inputs were quarter circle forward or 2-3-6. In Street Fighter, you have anything you can possibly imagine. DP inputs, 2-2-H's, half circles, double quarter circles, 720s. The list goes on, man, it's ridiculous. Now let's try to put this in perspective. Imagine if instead of being able to do the simple DBFZ inputs, you had to do Street Fighter 6 inputs each time you went for a special or a super. For a special, you had to do a whole half circle. For a super, you had to do 2 quarter circle forwards. This can be very hard and tedious to do consistently, but this is something you have to get used to in Street Fighter 6. When it comes to DBFZ, this game is more hyper-focused on neutral and movement and mix. There isn't much penalty for blocking, and the Oki isn't very good on normal knockdowns. Street Fighter, on the other hand, is very punish-focused. Blocking for too long means your drive gauge gets lower and lower and risks you getting put into burnout. Getting put into burnout doesn't mean it's Jover, but it's pretty goddamn close to being Jover. You lose access to a lot of options, many things are more safe against you on block, and you get wall splat if you're in the corner. This is just not something you want to happen ever. Do never put yourself into burnout unless it guarantees a kill. Now to further emphasize how punish heavy this game is, if you get a counter hit, it can literally change what combo you have available. A counter hit makes this actually combo when before it didn't. And a punish counter leads to even more damage. Getting a knockdown is even more dangerous in this game because the Oki is so good. In DBFZ, the Oki was pretty trash on soft knockdowns, since the opponent had many options to mix you up. You were guessing just as hard as they were on wake up. Also, meaty throws were also not really a thing, because Delay Tech cucked you in pretty much a lot of your setups. The only time you had guarantee Oki was after a level 3, but that cost 3 whole bars and the opponent knows it's coming. In Street Fighter, they can only mix up their wake up on 2 ways. They can get up normally, or they can backward. Street Fighter also has something called a hard knockdown, which isn't tied to supers. It can be on supers, specials, normal moves, and the opponent cannot mix up their wake up at all. An incredibly scary part of Street Fighter is the throw game. Because the throws are so fast and they can counter grabs, since they meet you on wake up, you can do something called a throw loop. The opponent doesn't want to just eat these, but if they try to retaliate, a punish counter here will destroy them. One of the things you have to train yourself to react to is Dragon Rush in DBFZ. It's the big throw and some people's only mix. In Street Fighter, you have to react to this thing called DI, Drive Impact. It can be done in the middle of your string if there's a gap, and if you don't react to it, you can get splat and punished into a full combo. You have to react to the animation as soon as possible and counter DI or break it. Now to break this guy down as fast as possible, Street Fighter 6 is a slower paced game than DBFZ. You don't got your moon jumps or assists to go crazy with. You gotta get used to this punish heavy style and slower neutral. That means no jumping around like a crazy person. I know it can be kinda hard, but if you put in the work, this game can be so freaking satisfying, man. It's one of the funnest games I've ever played. With all that being said, I hope this helped you to pick this game up, especially if you're coming from DBFZ, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Y'all go out and have a beautiful day.